Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today let's go over the market. What a wild day today for Tesla for sure. Beautiful earnings, yeah, well not beautiful, but good, very good earnings relative to the circumstances overall. Clearly, as a stock has performed quite well today. Yes, we're gonna go over the market, Tesla, see what's happening, what's what we can expect tomorrow, next week, maybe the rest of the month essentially, right? And maybe even a little bit as to what we can expect for summer. For August, maybe even September a little bit, right? Things like that. So let's just get this party started. If you guys enjoy the video, find it useful, helpful, informative, whatever, don't forget to hit that like button. But let's get into it. Tesla ending the day just under 10% move today, which is quite fantastic, guys. Ending the day at $815.33, which is an absolute wild day. Also on extremely high volume, pretty much at 45 million, which is like, decently higher than pretty much the last, at this point, like month and a half or whatever it is. It hasn't been this high since May of 12th of May. So yeah, it's been a while since we've had volume somewhere in this range, which is actually, of course, quite fantastic. So guys, let's talk about it. Well, Tesla had a earnings report yesterday. Seemed to be pretty good, right? No major issues for the most part, at least, right? Felt pretty good. There were some controversies about them selling their Bitcoin to make the free cash flow better. Their current head of PR has said on Twitter that that's not the case, and whatever the case may be. Like I said, when we were still over here, and I've been calling out this target for a while, right? This high 700, low 800 target. I've been calling this out all the way since like back in the 600s, right? And we're finally here, right? This is the target I've been waiting for like weeks and weeks and weeks. Now, I wish I played it a bit more aggressively. I'm just playing extremely cautiously right now in the market because I still personally believe at any point there is going to be a massive rug pull coming up. I still believe that, which is why I'm very, very cautious. I didn't play it as aggressively as, obviously in hindsight, I wish I did, because, even though I was pretty confident we get to this area, I did feel like at any point in here, we could just rug pull straight down, and I'm not willing to take that risk. Nonetheless, we have been talking about this target, this general area for, again, a very long time, and now we are finally here. So what's next, right? That's the big question. What's next? Well, first and foremost, as much as I want to say, oh, we hit the target, time to plummet down to 400, like I said, it's not going to happen. It's not that easy, right? It's not going to happen just overnight. I mean, there's still technically a chance that it just doesn't happen at all, right? I don't think that's going to happen. I still think that we're going to drop there. But, let's talk about it. So on the daily, you can see the RSI is pointing just completely straight up. Beautiful buying pressure today on the candle, just straight green pretty much. A little bit of resistance at the end here you can see. But ultimately, a very nice looking candle just showcasing just pure buying pressure. Also on high volume, overall looking quite good. And this is why I personally don't think that, it's just starting, tomorrow or next week, we're just going to start plummeting. I don't think it'll happen that fast. I personally think there's going to be some, form of consolidation somewhere around this area for, a fair amount of time before something like that might actually happen, right? So that's kind of what I'm expecting right now. Taking a quick look at the indicators that we care about that have been obviously quite helpful so far. Before I even look at them, I'm just going to assume that we're well above almost all of them, which we most likely are. The 21 EMA, well above that. The Bollinger Band, well above the green. Now, this is very scary, guys. I want to be very cautious. Like I said, whenever we're plummeting, I get bullish. Short term. Whenever we're skyrocketing like this, or when we skyrocketed here and then we just straight plummeted, skyrocketed here and then straight plummeted, right? Same thing here. We're just pretty much skyrocketing, right? We went from essentially $676 to $815 in the span of like a week and a half, right? That's a pretty wild move. And on top of that, we're well above the green line on the Bollinger Band. Like the green line's not even keeping up with the stock price movement today, right? That's how far ahead we are of the green line. Just guys, as usual, like I always say, when you touch one of these lines, it tends to sometimes consolidate around the line, being the red or the green, again, which is why I think we might consolidate somewhere around this 800 level, maybe, for a couple of days potentially, right? It's not impossible. But ultimately, I personally believe we will magnetize right back down to this white line once it starts catching up, which I personally think will actually coincide somewhere around this gap fill back all the way down to around, mid 700s. As a lot of people are probably going to be thinking, wow, that's impossible. Tesla will never touch there again, which is exactly what they said here, which is what they said here, which is what they said over here on this rocket, right? I'm sure a lot of people were saying that here, and I'm sure a lot of people were also saying that here. So yeah, just, it is what it is, right? I do think that we're ultimately going to come down to most likely touch the white line again of this Bollinger Band, most likely coinciding somewhere around this gap fill as the white line starts to kind of follow us up on this massive run up. Again, be careful, guys. Be very careful. I say this every time on massive run ups. They usually follow with some pretty massive or they usually follow with some pretty massive drops. Just be careful, right? That's all I'm going to say. Be careful. Moving along, of course, we have the 50-day moving average well above that. The 200 is still well above us, unfortunately. So there is technically a chance that we rally up to the 200 moving average, which is essentially sitting at $900. I don't think we will personally. Like I would be somewhat shocked if we will. I don't think we will. I think this might be a little bit of a bull trap for a lot of people thinking that we will. I don't think we will. Mainly because like I said, and I've been saying this for like weeks and weeks now, that we're, in my opinion, ultimately playing out this bear flag. Again, not financial advice. Make your own decisions. Blah blah blah. But yeah, moving on to the 5-day moving average, well above that, and the 10, of course, well above that. So we're well above pretty much every meaningful moving average. I do think it's going to start coinciding with this gap fill as we start potentially coming back down. So ultimately, what I expect to happen is most likely something along the lines of this, right? So we came up, beautiful touch of the top of the line of the bear flag. Now, again, keep in mind, I used to have the bear flag like this. And this is how I've had it for like weeks and weeks and weeks, right? But this was just a rough drawing. Like, I don't know exactly where it's going to be. I just know it'll be somewhere around this area. So now that we're here, we can start seeing how the stock decides to react around this price range. And from there, we can get a much more accurate depiction of the bear flag and how it's going to form. So as of right now, I have it drawn something like this, right? Which is, something that is potentially pretty accurate. It still lines up with this movement here. So it still makes a lot of sense. But again, I do want to see how the next few days play out, how the consolidation will play out. And that'll give us a much better idea on, again, how this bear flag will ultimately form and play out as well. But I still believe it is going to play out. That's my current thought process. So again, we're above every meaningful moving average. It's all kind of coinciding. So I personally wouldn't be surprised if some point, maybe end of this month, let's say even, we come back down to, again, the white line of the Bollinger Band, which is essentially sitting around this gap fill, or will be at least around the 750-ish level, give or take. Probably get the gap fill or get extremely close to the gap fill over here from yesterday's close, which is, again, 742-ish. But I think we'll ultimately come down there, probably retest this red line breakout that we just had. And then from there, we'll see what happens. From there, we can get probably a nice little bounce up again. Maybe if we're lucky, get some kind of, summer rally back up to the top of this bear flag one more time. So essentially, it'll be something like this, right? That's also a possibility, right? Something like that. But of course, we'll come to it once we get there. But the first move I would personally be looking for is, number one, a rejection somewhere around this level. Pretty much where we are right now. It can go a little bit higher, maybe like 825, maybe even 830. Wouldn't surprise me entirely. But ultimately, I expect a rejection somewhere around this level coming up, with consolidation probably in between. Ultimately, a fall back down to somewhere around the 700s, the mid 700s-ish, give or take. And then probably get a bounce off, and then we'll see from there once we get there. But that's kind of what I'm expecting. But as usual, ultimately, guys, we are in a bear flag still. I'm ultimately expecting this to play out to the downside, which will give me the price target of between 550 to 450, which in my opinion is going to be the bargain of the century. And that's personally what I'm being extremely patient on. Again, I did sell a 700 put yesterday before market closed, and I bought it back, unfortunately, too early today. I bought it back in the morning because I personally thought this might be a sell-off day, just people might be taking profits. Clearly not. We clearly rallied, so obviously it would have been better if I held, but again, I'm very risk off at the moment, right? And that's been working quite well for me. I'm not making as much profit as I would want to be, but I'm not losing money at all, which is great. So ultimately I'm still up, which is fantastic in my opinion, especially in, given the weird market conditions, and I bought it back. So that was my little trade there, and now I'm full cash, right? I'm watching Tesla run up. Am I getting FOMO? Am I getting scared that, oh my god, I missed my chance? Absolutely not. I've seen this happen way too many times at this point. I'm not making the same mistake again. You'll always get opportunities, you'll always get dips, you'll always get those chances. Once again, not financial advice again as usual, but they will always be there, they will always come, right? Especially in this kind of market environment. But that's kind of what I'm seeing for Tesla, guys, right? Beautiful move today. But again, ultimately you can see as we're kind of moving up and up and up and up and up, the RSI in the 5 minute, the RSI in the 5 minute, low. So I'm expecting some consolidation to a retrace very, very soon. 15 minute, you can see same thing here as we started going higher. The RSI was still looking pretty decent, but now it started to show a bit of a bearish divergence setting up, right? So definitely expecting some form of drawdown pretty soon, and we'll see where that takes us. Again, ultimately, after like probably end of this month or something like that, I expect a move down back to the mid 700s quickly. And we'll see what happens with that. But moving on to the indices also extremely quickly. You can see a beautiful run for the past week-ish on the indices, right? Works well with Tesla and how it's run as well. But the main thing we've been looking for on the SPY, it's had pretty major resistance, roughly give or take here. It's pretty close to potentially getting to the gap fill of 401, not far, only a few points away. That's like 1% maybe. So we'll see what happens with that, but I'm expecting some heavy resistance pretty much in this 400-ish level for SPY. and looking for it to potentially fall down from here. The QQQ is sitting in somewhat of a similar position at the top of this bear flag at the moment, so I'm expecting some heavy resistance to start coming in pretty much now-ish, maybe a little bit more up, run up for maybe like 1% at most in my opinion, but I'm expecting heavy resistance here as well. There's some gap fills to fill as well. You can see down here, for instance, at 286 on the QQQ, right? So that's obviously going to coincide with Tesla potentially having a fallback as well. And the VIX is just getting absolutely crushed. So you're definitely expecting a potential bounce for the VIX at some point over here as well. So we'll see what happens with that. But you can see it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think down below, but hopefully some of you have profited off of, the moves we've been talking about. I've been calling for this for quite a while. Back, remember when we had this fall right here where we came up and then we came back down, and on this day, this day right here, this red candle, when we closed down here, I said I'm feeling bullish, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling bullish. Granted, I don't think we'd rocket this hard this fast, but I did ultimately think we would get to this range, just not this fast. I thought maybe it'll take another week or so, or maybe like, maybe next week is what I thought this would happen. This market does move quite fast though, right? Especially in a bear market rally like this, essentially, and like with the indices and the SPY and the QQQ, right? Just very, very quick rallies. That's just how the market is in bear markets. It's just very quick rallies, very quick short coverings, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so ultimately we hit the target that I've been waiting for. Now I'm going to be extremely curious to see how it reacts. I'm patient. I'm not worried. I'm not rushing. I'm not FOMOing. I'm letting the things play out. I'm waiting for my opportunity to present itself to make a play. And that's kind of what I'm doing. So hopefully you guys are doing something similar as well. Either way, hope some of you have made some good money off of the moves that we've been calling. So far, it's been quite successful, but now I'm slowly turning to be more and more bearish. All that being said and done, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.